and greet Mel K. Boom. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Mel K.
Hello, San Antonio. Thank you all for coming. It is my honor and pleasure to be here. I have to say, please know every single one of you should be very proud of yourselves. You are on the front lines of what is, I believe, a battle between good and evil, God and Satan, and God is winning, and you are on the right side of history, and you are brave humans, and keep fighting back. Thank you. First, I want to start, for anyone that does not watch my show, I have been for about 3 years pointing the finger at something that Donald Trump once said in an interview. He said that there was an invisible empire, an invisible enemy, that had all the money, all the power, their own military, and their own plans for humanity, and that we, the people of all of our countries, had never heard of them. Well, we've spent a really long time trying to point them out to you, and the truth is, our countries have all been greatly deceived by an entity that we thought was gone, because Germany may have lost World War II, but the Nazis did not. And the truth of the matter is that all of our countries, as Satan always does, a group of people led by David Rockefeller and Henry Kissinger and George Bush Sr.'s father and a bunch of high-level Nazis and high-level monarchs and oligarchs around the world when they knew that the Third Reich was not going to happen, which is a one-world government, okay? They removed, through Project High Jump and Operation Paperclip, 30,000 of the highest-ranking Nazis. They're physicists, they're scientists, they're doctors, they're educators, they're journalists, and they brought them to America, and they inserted them into our universities, our NGOs, our think tanks, our Hollywood, our media, and worst of all, they created something called the United Nations. And I will tell you right now, there's not a doubt in my mind that the United Nations is literally the Fourth Reich. And they know that people of God that love country and love family and love the children and love nature and all the things that make this planet amazing are empathetic, compassionate people who want to do good things for other humans. And they use that against us to convince us that this is what the goal of the United Nations was. Well, frankly, the United Nations goal has always been the one world government, new world order. It has never been anything other than that, and David Rockefeller himself does not deny this. David Rockefeller funded the United Nations, and I will tell you, he proudly proclaimed, I like to bring evidence because it's easier to just say what he said. He proudly proclaimed, when asked, he said, "Some even believe we are part of a secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States, characterizing my family and me as internationalist and of conspiring with others around the world to build a more integrated global political economic structure. One world, if you will. If that's the charge, I stand guilty and I'm proud." He then brought in his communications director, otherwise known as the head of Communist in America, CIA, William Casey, who said, we'll know our disinformation program is complete when everything an American citizen believes is false. Then he brought in, now I don't know if you guys know this or not, if you listen to me you probably do, but there is a meditation room to this day. It is the foundation of the United Nations. Rockefeller brought a woman named Alice Bailey who had a company called Lucifer Publishing, to write out the philosophical underpinnings of the United Nations. She turned it into something called Lucis Trust, which still to this day exists at the United Nations as a meditation room with a big black cube in the middle and 1,000 points of light coming through the roof. And she wrote the 10 rules for the one world government, which still exists at the United Nations today. And they are, okay, take God and prayer out of education. Number 2, reduce parental authority over children. Number 3, destroy the traditional Christian family structure. Number 4, if sex is free, make abortion easy and legal. 5, make divorce easy and legal, free people of the concept of traditional marriage. 6, make homosexuality the alternative lifestyle. 7, debase art, make it run mad. 8, use media to promote and change mindset. 9, create an interfaith movement without God. And 10, get governments to make all these laws and get the churches to endorse them. Let's just say the one thing not welcome at the United Nations is God, okay? They are God in their minds. And this takes me to something that happened this week. And I really want everyone to really understand. The only thing standing in the way of their great reset, their one world government, their dystopian, honestly, hell for humanity is the United States Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and our Judeo-Christian belief in inalienable rights given by God. And I will tell you right now, they are challenging this at every turn. They cannot have a faith in God compete with their God, which is them. So what we saw this week, and you have to understand, as we've talked about many times on my show and many of the people you've listened to, our country, people ask me a lot, who's running America? Well, I'll tell you who's running America. It's not even the United Nations because they're puppets too. It is the World Economic Forum and their overlords called the Bank of International Settlements. The Nazi bank, by the way. This Bank of International Settlements in Geneva, Switzerland, are the people that meet in Davos and Bilderberg, and the Committee of 300 and the Club of Rome. And this small group of 3,000 oligarchs, billionaires, technocrats, and aging monarchs, they think that they are somehow more entitled to decide what happens on this planet than we are, let alone God is. They do not believe in God. They believe in Satan. They are Luciferians. and they believe that anyone that believes in God is a fool. Well, last week they had some kind of elitist Luciferian prom in Glasgow. I don't know if you guys saw this climate convention, but I will tell you something. They have gone way over the edge here because, as I've discussed many times, Klaus Schwab is the face of the World Economic Forum. He is not only a Rothschild and a total and complete transhumanist who believes that humanity should not exist in its current form. As you know, he wrote something called COVID-19, the Great Reset, which is the pandemic, which is the virus. Then he did something a year later called the Cyber Polygon Tabletop Exercise, which was a simulation quite like the World Economic Forum, the Gates Foundation, and Bloomberg ran of COVID, called Event 201 a year before it happened. This was a takedown of our grid, our energy system, our supply line, and I guess it went perfectly because here we are. And his next one is the one that you must all step up and shout at the rooftops. This will not happen because his next foretelling of our future is something called the Fourth Industrial Revolution, and it doesn't include humans. Okay? It doesn't. These are people that believe in transhumanism. David Rockefeller, though passed away, his foundation still has a lot of power, and so does he. And his minions were George Soros and Henry Kissinger. And I will tell you right now, they talked about microchipping everyone in humanity in the mid-90s. Then they met again in 2008, where Bill Gates led the way, a Rockefeller. And he, interesting, his father started Planned Parenthood, a huge eugenicist who complained that there were too many people being born with faulty DNA. Sounds a lot like the Nazi Aryan race, does it not? And oddly enough, he got an award from the Carnegie Foundation, another one of the cabal, the same time as Fauci did in the 90s. So don't think that anything is new here. The problem is they had their Agenda 21, and you know what happened? Donald J. Trump won the White House. And what happened from then on is these people went into panic mode, and you heard George Soros. George Soros has proclaimed many, many times that his life goal is to destroy America from the inside out. George Soros and Rockefeller and Gates and all these people have said many times, because of our Constitution and our Bill of Rights and our faith in God, that America had to be destroyed for the New World Order, and that they much preferred China to be the world power. In fact, just so that you know, well, I don't want to waste the time, but I will tell you to look it up. But do not go to Google or Wikipedia. You can always go to themellkshow.com and go to my resources to find some places where you can find real news and real facts. But the truth of the matter is that this fourth industrial revolution backs up into what happened in Glasgow this week. I need you all to know, not only do they not care about climate change or climate crisis, but they've been trying to pull this off for a very long time. And what you don't know that they're not telling you is that this group of people, along with the New York Stock Exchange, the Rockefeller Foundation, BlackRock, Bloomberg, and the Bank of England, the Bank of Canada, and a whole bunch of people just decided that our natural resources on the planet will be controlled by them, and that we will no longer be able to access natural resources, period, without going through them. And they started something called the Glasgow, let's see here, one second. I just want everyone to know about this so that they are aware of what they're planning here. So they started something called the Alliance for Net Zero. Okay? What this really is this is a complete power grab of all of our resources: air, water, land, food, and, of course, cyberspace and space. And they're going to be trading it. And they're going to be making billions and billions and billions of dollars while they say that this climate conference, this climate emergency, is somehow about the 1% and how there's not equitable distribution. I don't know if you saw Linda Rothschild and the Pope talk about their inclusive capital movement and all of this. You have to understand, the same people saying this are the same people doing it. This is what they've always done. And the solutions on this end are to understand that they are talking about enslaving humanity on such a level that you will look today, and Jeff Bezos came out and said very few people are going to be able to live on the earth in not too long of a time. They're going to be in anti-gravity pods. I mean, this is coming out of their mouths. Last week, they had a transhumanist convention that was hidden because of the Glasgow event, and a guy that was a bigwig at Google AI came out and said the goal is to replace God with a benevolent AI. And I will tell you, this stuff is going, and they are going fast, because now they have this communist, socialist Marxist who hates America coming in that they are going to try to push through as the comptroller of our banks that wants to end all private banking, make all of our banking and all of our businesses go through the Fed. And have full surveillance, a total digital currency that also includes all of our health records, full surveillance on where we live, what we do, what we buy, who we communicate with, where we show up, and what we do, especially online. Now, one good thing to know is it's not going to happen, because on the way to the Great Reset, something really went wrong. We, the people, woke up worldwide. The Great Reset became the Great Awakening. There is an alliance of people around this world that will not tolerate this small group of evil demons to replace God on this planet. We have unalienable rights that they will never take away. And they will never, ever separate us from our countries, and they will not cede our sovereignty, because God wins here, and I tell you all, keep the faith.